In July 2016, Glasgow crime boss Jamie Daniel died following a 4-year battle with cancer. From humble beginnings shoplifting, loan sharking, and stealing car wheels, he had become one of Scotland's most powerful and wealthy underworld figures, with criminal connections across the UK and even further afield. But that empire, like Jamie, was coming to an end. His death at the age of 58 seriously weakened the Daniel family, with no replacement in sight. Their bitter rivals, the Lyons, had murdered Jamie's enforcer and son-in-law Kevin Gerbil Carroll 6 years earlier, and they had also forged an alliance with the powerful Irish Kinahan organised crime group, now based in Dubai, with global connections in the drugs market. Among the mourners at Jamie Daniel's funeral at Clydebank Crematorium was his 26-year-old son, Xander Sutherland, who was then serving a 13-and-a-half-year term for heroin dealing. He was allowed out of prison under guard to help carry his father's coffin into the crematorium. 6 months earlier, he had asked for his sentence to be cut, claiming he was born into a life of crime and had been brought up by a criminal family. He also claimed he had been under pressure to join the family business and wasn't entirely to blame for his actions. Sutherland claimed he was only at director level in the operation and not the chief executive. His appeal was rejected, and the courts ruled his 13-year term for dealing heroin was reasonable. But one appeal judge, Lord Carloway, did add,
"The appellant raised an interesting point about the effect of an offender coming from a criminally oriented family."
On the day of his father's funeral, Elvis Presley's classic hit In the Ghetto was played as the 600 mourners packed the crematorium. They included Daniel's 41-year-old wife Debbie, his 3 brothers, son Francis Fraggle Green, and his daughter Kelly Green. The 30-minute non-religious service, carried out by a celebrant, made no reference to Daniel's criminal past, but instead described him as a loving family man who had fathered 10 children. Simply a scrap metal dealer who enjoyed bungee jumping, hunting, jet skiing, playing pool, and supporting Rangers. The celebrant added,
"He was someone who liked to be in control and was usually 2 steps ahead of everyone else. You either loved him or hated him, but Jamie liked it that way."
Jamie Daniel's underworld dominance remained a secret until January 2003, when he was named as the #1 criminal in Scotland. At the time, his criminal empire was said to be worth £16 million a year. And over the years, Jamie Daniel had earned the reputation as someone not to be crossed. 2 doormen who had attacked a family member at a Glasgow nightclub were said to have had their cars blown up, and in 2000 he was linked to the murder of drug dealer Frank McPhee, a career criminal who was shot in the head by a sniper outside his home in Maryhill. McPhee was said to have assaulted a Daniel family member weeks earlier, though the murder to this day remains unsolved. By the time of his death, Daniel's main business was said to be cigarette smuggling, earning up to £1 million a month. Apart from a 4-year sentence for heroin dealing in 1983 and 12 months for a road rage attack in 2010, Daniel was always one step ahead of the law. In August 2019, a Channel 5 TV documentary claimed he had used contacts with a Scottish Asian family to ship large quantities of heroin from Pakistan to Scotland. In response to the patriarch's death, the Lyons clan responded with a brutal campaign of violence and intimidation, which included 5 attempted murders in 5 months on key Daniel gang members. In December 2016, a nephew of Jamie Daniels, who cannot be named for legal reasons, was attacked in a house in Robroyston and hit on the back of the head with a machete. A month later, a 31-year-old Daniel associate suffered a fractured skull after he was set upon in Cranhill. The next victim, Gary Petty, was attacked outside an Italian takeaway in Maryhill in March 2017. While Ryan Fitzsimmons was seriously injured by a masked gang the following month outside his home in Clydebank. His only crime was that his older brother Martin had been charged with shooting Lyons associate Ross Monaghan. The most savage attack was on Stephen Bonzo Daniel on the 18th of May 2017, another nephew of Jamie Daniels. He was chased through Glasgow by 2 cars after attending a Rangers game at Ibrox that night. Daniel's car eventually crashed off a ramp on the M8 in the Port Dundas area. He was subjected to a horrific attack with machetes and knives, which left him with facial wounds so severe that police initially thought he had been shot. In May 2019, 6 associates of the Lyons family were jailed for a total of 104 years at the High Court in Glasgow after being found guilty of the 5 murder plots. The judge, Lord Mulholland, told the gang,
"You sought to turn Glasgow into a war zone for your feud. There is no place for this type of conduct, retribution, or the law of the jungle."
Members of both factions are currently behind bars where the violence has continued. Prison officials have been forced to keep rival members in separate jails. Since March, there have been a string of attacks in Edinburgh and Glasgow on Daniel family members and their associates, with police making more than 40 arrests in a crackdown codenamed Operation Portledge. The violence is said to have been orchestrated by Dubai-based ex-Rangers ultra and Union Bears leader Ross McGill, known as Miami, as a reprisal against Edinburgh Daniel associate Mark Richardson over a £500,000 cocaine deal allegedly paid for with fake money. Lyons crime boss Stephen Lyons has also been based out in the United Arab Emirates for a number of years, where he's strengthened links with the Kinahans. In the latest violent development on May 31st this year, 2 members of the Lyons crime clan, Ross Monaghan and Eddie Lyons Jr., were shot dead by a mystery gunman at an Irish bar owned by Monaghan in a Spanish holiday resort near Malaga. The attack happened on a Saturday night in front of horrified customers who had been watching live TV coverage of the Champions League final between PSG and Inter Milan. Spanish police are continuing to investigate.